The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with about 3 cups of cherry or grape tomatoes. And I've got a few tablespoons of olive oil. And I just want to cook those tomatoes just a little bit, just to soften them up and bring out the flavor. So they're going to go right into our oil. And I just want to cook them for a minute or two, just to, like I say, just to get them to start to soften. Now, I don't do homemade pizza crusts because, you know me, I'm a cooking mom, and it's all about getting dinner on the table quick. I don't make bread or pizza crusts. I think I'm a big believer in, stick with what you're good at. And I do make dinner almost every night, but I got to get it on the table quick. So I'm a big believer in, a tube of refrigerated pizza dough is great. Works perfect for this recipe. Makes life easy. If you make your own dough, awesome. Go for it. I need the recipe. And we fight over who opens the can in our house because it makes that fun pop. Okay. So 1 can of refrigerated pizza dough or your own homemade. This works really nicely. It's so quick because it goes right into this pan, and it just makes life really easy. Yeah, I'm going to spray the pan. Good idea, Deb. Makes cleanup easy, too. Okay. Just unroll that dough, and it presses perfectly into this 11 by 17 pan. Just makes a nice big pizza. I just want to check on my tomatoes quick. Give them a stir. They look great. They smell good. We just want them to break down a little bit. A little more oil. I'm going to do just a pinch of salt and pepper over the top. Tomatoes are so delicious, but they need a little salt, I think. So just a little dab will do ya. Okay, let me get back to my pizza crust. We love pizza so much in our family that we even attempted to we were thinking of a fun spring break vacation one year, and we thought, let's do a pizza tour of Chicago. So we did all this research and found the pizza places. Thanks, Deb. Checking on those tomatoes for me over there while I'm doing the crust. Anyway, we researched and did some research and found the top pizza places in Chicago, all different kinds, from the stuffed pizza to the thin crust. And we booked a hotel, and we were just going to kind of hang out during the day and do museums and shopping and Michigan Avenue and all that stuff. And then at night, we'd go to 4 or 5 different pizza places. Each night we'd go to a different one, and then we'd kind of just decide, which one we liked best. Just kind of a fun family vacation. And because both my kids, especially Riley, is just an absolute pizza nut. He seriously could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. So we get all the way out in Chicago. We check into our hotel. We go to our first pizza restaurant, and it was delicious. And all of a sudden, we get back to the hotel, and Riley's like, I don't feel good. And he didn't look good either. So I took his temperature, and it was 104. And it was oh, no. So we thought, okay, we'll get him some Tylenol and get him to bed. And it was all night long we were up with him. And so finally we were enough of this. It just gets, especially when you're not home, you're not, near your doctors and things like that. Took him to the emergency room, pneumonia. So that pizza trip got cut a little short. So we hopped in the car and came back to town. But we're going to do it again sometime. We really are, because it started out to be a blast. We only got to 1 pizza joint, but can't wait to get to some others. Good pizza in Chicago, but we have some really good pizza around here too. Okay, so our tomatoes are looking nice. And I just want to get them into a bowl. So we're just cooking them for a few minutes, because they're going to bake some more in the oven. And I'm going to add to the tomatoes a little bit of, about a 1/4 teaspoon, or if you like a little more spicy, crushed red pepper flakes, a little more salt. And then I'm going to do some fresh garlic, 2 cloves of fresh garlic. I'm just going to toss it in with the tomatoes, just really give them lots of flavor. Just mince those up a little bit. Smells so good. If you have a favorite pizza place around here, I need to know about it. I'm always looking for those little hole-in-the-wall type of places. Doesn't have to be the real fancy stuff. I love, like, even a good, mom and pop place, even a good bar that makes homemade pizzas. I'm willing to drive for it. So email me your favorite pizza spot. All right, I just want to toss together the garlic, the red pepper, and the tomatoes, and just smash them up just a tad. You can even use the old potato masher. I don't want to smash them too much. Just a tad, just to release their juices a little bit. Perfect. Oh, these smell amazing. It's going to just give this, these ordinary cherry or grape tomatoes just so much more flavor by just sauteing them in that olive oil for a little bit, putting that garlic in there. I wish you could smell it at home. It smells amazing. Okay, real simple recipe, Margherita Pizza. Basically, like I say, it's the crust, it's tomatoes, it's cheese, and some basil. I mean, it's very, very simple. So, instead of all those toppings where you really can taste every little thing in this recipe. So we've got 2 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, just the normal stuff that goes on most pizzas. And then we're going to do something a little fancier and do the fresh mozzarella cheese. Bel Gioioso makes wonderful little fresh mozzarella cheese balls. They come in a few different sizes. This happens to be kind of the medium-sized little fresh balls. Buconcini, it's called. And you'll notice the fresh mozzarella balls, they come in a water that keeps them nice and fresh. So I'm going to get rid of that water. And I'm going to take these little fresh mozzarella balls and just chunk them up a little bit. Now, if you get the smaller guys, you don't even need to chunk them up. They come in a few different sizes. I'm just going to dice these up a little bit. Love fresh mozzarella. In the summer, nothing better. If you like that salad that's got basically fresh mozzarella cheese and fresh tomatoes and a little drizzle of balsamic and basil, you're going to love, that caprese salad, you're going to love this pizza because it's kind of very much similar to that. Just lots of fresh flavor. So I'm going to get my fresh mozzarella in there. And now I'm going to do some fresh basil. The recipe calls for about 1/3 of a cup of fresh basil. I think it's kind of hard to measure basil. So I'm going to take a nice big bunch of it here. And the way I like to do it is just kind of get the leaves, get rid of the stems, kind of get the leaves in a pile. And we're going to do what the chefs call a chiffonade. Basically, we're going to make ribbons of basil, and it's going to be pretty. And an easy way to slice it up. So we just take the basil, get it in a big bunch, try and roll it up as best you can, and then just take our knife and there we go. 1/3 of a cup. Looks like it to me anyway. Okay, so that's that. We're ready to start putting this pizza together. Toss the basil with the cheese. Now I'm going to throw a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper down over this crust. That's up to you. You don't have to. It's just going to make it yummy. You could throw a little dried Italian seasoning on the top just to give that crust a little bit of flavor. Okay, now we're going to take our cheese, put it right down over the top. How about this for a weekend dinner? I've been doing more of a date night thing at home on Saturday nights every once in a while. We used to always just go out. On weekends it was like, okay, Mom's cooked all week, except for Sundays. But Friday and Saturday night, Friday we'd do fish fry or pizza, and then Saturday, maybe Bob and I would do date night. I've started to realize that, sometimes it's really nice to hang home on a Saturday night and plan a special, real fun dinner, one that you might not have time to make during the week. So this would be a fun one. Invite some friends over, make a few of these pizzas, put on some music. We love putting on music in our house. And it's gotten the kids to get into other music than just top 40. So we love the standards. Kind of fun to put on some Dean Martin and Italian music if you're doing a pizza party. Kind of theme it. Gets everybody into the mood. So these tomatoes go right down over the cheese. And it's real important when it comes to baking a pizza that you know, at home we don't have these pizza ovens that crank out, you know, super duper high heat. So what you need to do is make sure you've got your, you know, we want a nice crisp crust. So you need to make sure you've got that oven preheated to a good 425 degrees or even higher. If you have a pizza stone and you love that, you know, by all means, use one of those to get that nice crisp crust. But if you don't, and we don't have one here, just make sure your oven is at a real high heat. You don't want to be baking a pizza at about 300, 350 and have it hang out in there, and then you're going to get sog central. So, you know, about 425 or even higher. This takes about 20, 25 minutes to bake, and I just want to show you how yummy it turns out. Ooh, yeah. I'm excited about this. So the cheese gets all melty and those tomatoes just bake right in there, and you can see the basil. And I'm going to wait just a second or two to slice it up. But there you go. It's my Margherita pizza, maybe garnished with some fresh basil on top.